welcome to today's special Soul Chats interview. I am so excited for today's guest. I have been a number person my whole life, and I'm so excited to bring you on a celebrity numerologist. Glynis McCant has been on all sorts of different talk shows. She's been doing numerology for, I believe, over 20 years now. And she's been on the Today Show, Dr. Phil. She's been on, CBS, The Talk, The View, Entertainment Tonight. She was also hired as a numerology expert for the Jim Carrey film, The Number 23. She has been interviewed in the Pride magazine. This woman is hilarious, first off, and she's going to talk to you about numerology and why numbers are so important. I cannot wait for you to listen. So let's jump in. Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited for our special guest, Glynis. Hi, Glynis. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Great to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. I've been attracted to numbers my entire life. I love numerology. Can you tell everybody what numerology is and why it's so important to have it in their life?
Yes, numerology itself, it's a science of numbers. It's 2,500 years old. And Pythagoras is the system that I use because there's more than one. But the belief is that everything in this universe has vibration, and it's especially true about people. So Pythagoras attached traits to the basic numbers 1 through 9. 1 is the beginning. It's like working on the self, and 9 is the number of selflessness. So we all fall into something here, 1 through 9, and that's my specialty. Who are you by the numbers?
I love that. What numerology number are you?
Double 3.
You're a double
Born on
three.
a 3-day 3-life path. Here to motivate and uplift others. Natural comedian. I was a stand-up comedian, a headliner, but I always used numerology as a part of it because a 3 is here to communicate. They are here to uplift, and motivate people. So being funny, sure, I can make you happy for a moment, but I'd rather make you happy for a lifetime. And that's what I have done for well over 25 years. It's been amazing.
And you've done a lot of readings, like a lot of numerology readings.
I can honestly tell you, I was talking to George Roy from Coast to Coast about this. I have surpassed 50,000 reads. But I started, 1995 is when I went professional because I'd been studying it since I was a teenager. It was just my thing. And I have to tell you, numerology found me. I wasn't looking for it because I knew what I knew about me because, I was voted class clown in high school, but I was also a straight A student, which is unusual. And the principal literally said, we have never had a class clown who was also the top 10 students of the school ever. So that's where I was different. Like I always had the humor that was easy. So I thought, oh, and I remember this little thing. I'm like, okay, I'll be famous, I'll be an actress. And then when I'm on the talk show couch, I'll teach people to know there's nothing you can't achieve if you set your mind to it. Well, the joke is that is who I am. Like that is exactly what I've done as a numerologist. And had I just gone that other route, it would not have been fulfilling. This is about transforming people's lives. And numerology is a tool that I use, one of my tools.
I love that. To me, what it sounds like you're saying is like your brain needs to be stimulated as well at the same time. So are numbers stimulating to you in terms of like making you think and allowing you to grow?
Numbers are alive for me. So like when I look at a blueprint, it literally comes to life. And when I read clients, they feel like I've opened up their diary. They're like, what? How do you know that? My husband said that last week. Oh my gosh, my daughter just said that yesterday. That's my gift. So what I tell you is when I do numerology, my third eye is open. And actually being double 3, born on a 3-day 3-life path, it's even more true for me. So my ultimate calling, like back in the day when I didn't know how I was going to get there, I'm like, I should be a motivational speaker. I should be a writer. I'm a counselor. Well, guess what? By being Glynis has your number, I am all of those things. So I manifested my life purpose, and it turned out numerology was a huge part of that.
I love that. And to me, it's like just follow the energy of whatever's speaking to you. And clearly numbers have been speaking to you for a really long time.
Numbers never
Now,
shut up for me. They never stop talking. But yes, you are correct.
I love that. So you have your blueprint, your numerology
Yes.
blueprint. What does that include and what does that look like?
Okay, so how the blueprint works, you got 3 numbers from your name and 3 numbers from the birth date. And what you're using is the Pythagorean system. So example, even if you went to Google right now and said, oh, Pythagoras number letter chart, it would pop right up. And what it is every letter has a number attached to it. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3. Well, when you get to Z, 26, 2 plus 6 is 8. So that is what you use when you're doing name breakdowns. The numbers that I get from it, it's a soul number, personality number, and the power name number. And the power name means the most significant, like when your parents named you. Now, in this instance, a birth certificate number gives us a destiny. So destined, like where are you destined to go? That comes from the original name. And people don't understand this, but let's say you were adopted and it literally says baby girl Smith. You are breaking down baby girl Smith to get that destiny number.
That's
a lot of people don't realize that. Yeah. However, the most sacred number is the birth date because it's the day you're born, it's your life path number, and it's your attitude. Those 3 numbers tell me all about you. And on that note, I do have your numerology blueprint, so I want to talk about you. The month and day you're born is 8/2. Is that correct? No. Say your birthday.
April 8th.
4/8. It's just confirming the numbers that I see. Okay. So what I have in writing your blueprint, you were born on an 8 day and you're a 7 life path. So, ultimately what you also have is a 7 destiny. So I'm going to really play with that 7 for a minute with you. You're the ultimate observer. So even though you can be social, you know darn well you're always picking up everything in the room. Like you're a trip that way. You could be at a party and you're talking to me, but you can hear what's going on way at the end of the table. Like your sensors are amazing. And my favorite example of a 7 is Spock from the Starship Enterprise, Star Trek. The way he'd say, this is not logical. Because there's a part of your brain where like, you step back and go, okay, that's not real. Like someone's talking to you like, I have no time for this. You don't know what you're talking about, and I'm bored. So what you've learned to do is mentally leave the building. You're actually able to do that. How often have you done that in your life?
My husband will ask, are you here?
And that's a fair question. I say to people who have a 7 life path partner, I'm like, look, if you're not interesting, if you don't cut to the chase, if you ramble too long, they're gone. Their body's still there. But once you stop talking, they'll return. So it is a funny thing. And what I teach people is to not take that personally. Don't be offended by it. They're not trying to be hurtful. It's just the truth for you. And the other thing, again, saying you can be social, but when you need your time alone, oh, honey, you get very upset. It's like, I'm in my room right now. I need space. I just need to decompress. And actually, there's a beautiful thing that happens when you're by yourself. You tend to have major spiritual breakthroughs. How true has that been for you?
That's super true because I need space, and that's why I like working from home by myself, because I have space and time to download and to process, and I love hanging out with people, but I love being by myself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's again because you've also got 3s in your chart. So 3 is communication. That's the playful part. That's the part that can laugh. Then born on an 8 day, here's what's funny. 8 cares about image, appearance. How does it look? So here you are looking amazing with the beautiful hair and makeup. But the truth is, and let's not lie, if you weren't ready, you would not be on this camera. If you woke up and the hair's a disaster, you can't fix it, you might even move an appointment. That's the 8 energy. It's like, look, I'm not doing it to impress others. I just want to represent myself well. I want to put my best foot forward. So tell me about that part of you.
I love aesthetically pleasing things. I can walk out the door without makeup. I have no problem with that, but I want to look a certain way, and I want things to look a certain way because I like nice things.
Well, how about this idea? Even though you can walk outside without makeup, fine, you have to be wearing a cute outfit and the hair must be okay. You just represent it well. You're not fake about it. you know, because actually you're madly in love with nature. So nature's
Mhm.
beauty speaks to your soul, the ocean, the mountains, the plants, the flowers. You're so happy there. So it's not about makeup in that moment, but it's still about feeling attractive and good. Like you really get inside yourself. So I want to say yoga, meditation. What exercise are you doing for your body?
For
What do you
me,
do for your body?
Pilates, yoga, walking, just started sprinting again. So
Yeah.
I'm doing
But you
anything
see,
that,
that's all seven. Do you know
yeah,
when I even, like I've told you, this is my life, right? I live, eat, and breathe numbers, but horse racing by the numbers, I did a whole piece about that. It's the numbers 157 that are the birth dates of the horse that win the races because they're based in
oh,
movement. And when you said, I'm back to sprinting, you need to. You're a horse. It makes you happy. If you can get an endorphin release, that is a happy you. It's like, ooh, I feel good. Because
yeah,
the other thing about you can be intense. If something's bugging you, you get haunted by it. You've got a very strong mind. So when that happens, if you can just release it, and exercise, of course, is a great way to do it, and get back to your center, you go to this peaceful place of gratitude. You have a lot of gratitude, Amy. That's something you strive for, correct?
mm, yeah, I do. It's necessary.
Yeah.
Makes me feel good.
So here's another one. With that three attitude, that is natural counselors. So helping others is not hard for you to do. You know, when someone's troubled, I almost feel like you're 7 steps back to observe them, and then the 3 is able to deliver
Yeah.
and communicate with them what's going on. So what else is there? You do have a 1 power name number, which means you strive to be the best at what you do. That tells me you have high standards. You want to
Very
do
true.
well. And if you come up short, you beat yourself up. It's like, gosh darn it, I could have done it better. So I think you try to learn from that experience. But what I teach ones is to stop and acknowledge what they did accomplish. Say, you know what? Overall, it was a great thing. And just because that one thing went wrong, I'm not going to ruin. I'm not going to sit there wallowing in lack of perfection. I'm going to embrace the good stuff here. Now, that's part of your lesson. I'm not going to say that's easy for you.
No, it's not because I have to reframe. So like I'll always go, and this is just the truth. It doesn't matter if you're spiritual or not. Like as a spiritual teacher, I still will go to the negative and go, oh
Of
man, that
course. Of
didn't work
course.
out the way that I envisioned it at first. But then
Yeah.
I have a practice of what went well. Let's talk
Yeah.
about that. So then I
Yeah.
get off of dwelling about what didn't perfectly happen.
Yes. But that's exactly what I talk about. And in my books, Glynis has your number, love by the numbers. There's a positive and negative side to every vibration. When we go to the negative, and this is what we have to be careful of, is not to live there. It's
Mhm.
easy to get mad. I mean, I'm going to tell you a true story that happened today, which I'm still shocked about. I have an amazing dog named Coco. She's a husky. She's beautiful. And she's real good about going outside when it's time to go potty. Well, I went upstairs to help my mother, who's now in her 90s, like 91. So I was helping her take care of her. Of course, my mother left the door open to the bedroom. So when I came back down, the dog decided to go number 2 on my carpet.
Oh
Well, if you
no.
didn't think, Amy, I didn't lose my mind, I was so furious. But then I thought, pull yourself together, Glynis. Because yes, that's a horrible thing, but that's life, right? So let's handle that and get on with our day. Whereas somebody else would not get over that. They'd be furious about it all day because it messed the carpet, it smelled bad, and now I'm miserable. Well, because I am Glynis McCants, the numbers lady, I know better. It's not that I couldn't do that, but it's like, that's not going to serve you. So I teach people to learn to compartmentalize, right? It's like in this moment, it's me and Amy. In another moment, we deal with discipline or whatever it is that needs to take place. Many people don't know how to do that, and that's what causes them to fall into depression and feel unhappy. So I teach them how not to do that.
And I love that. And I know you're big into affirmations as well. I know that you
Well,
studied with
yeah,
Louise Hay or worked
I
with
would tell
her.
you this. Louise was a buddy. Praise the Lord, because I can't love anyone more than Louise Hay. I can't.
Oh, her
Louise Hay,
books changed my
you'll
life. I
know your life.
absolutely love her.
Yeah. And I got lucky because, like, of course, I'd done her work. As long as I did numerology, I was always about affirmations. And I had success stories like Oh, I had this thing, especially doing comedy, but I'd lose my voice. And then in her book, she explained, nope, that swallowed anger. You don't feel heard. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. So one time I had lost my voice right before an interview that was going to be at 11 in the morning. And I just quietly sat there with my candle and I just started affirming to get my voice back. At about a quarter to 11, I had my voice back, and that had never happened. So yes, affirmations are as significant to me as numerology. So what I do is I look at your blueprint, and I often will give you affirmations to help you, depending on what's going on with you. And boy, the level of success I've had in helping people heal their life has been staggering. But going back to Louise, we met in, like, say, 2006. And it's because I did her I Can Do It convention, and we became fast friends. And I love her. And I actually was blessed to read her. I got to do numerology with her and help her
That's
alter
amazing.
things. It was just the biggest honor of my life. And telling you people real quick, the woman was told she had terminal cancer in her 50s. Like, oh, you're not going to make it, blah, blah. We're going to have to do that. She's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Not going to do the chemo. So anyway, she walks away, does all this forgiveness. She realized she had a ton of anger and resentment that she had to let go of. And when she went back, let's say 6 weeks later, there was no cancer in her body. It was gone. So yes, I love that so much. And
Yeah, she's
that was a huge
amazing.
inspiration. But going back to affirmations, this world number, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
2024. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 is 8. So the world number 8, there's two things happening. People, when they hear the number 8, like even you in learning numbers, you often think money. It's like, oh, 8, prosperity. There's so much more to the 8. But what I had said is this is the year of politics. The number 8 has a position. The number 8 is outspoken. It is blunt. It tells you how it is. So we're hearing plenty of opinions, but what I found, which was really remarkable, because I had said it was the year of politics back last year, right? When I
Mhm.
just because the 8. Well, it turns out, Amy, 4 billion people are voting this year. 4 billion people are voting
Incredible to think
throughout this
about.
world this year. And as a result of that, we're going to see big shifts, right? Like, this is the year of saying, who are we? Who are we? Where do we stand? What matters most to us? So that's why it feels so crazy. And if you take your number 8 and you trace it, and you have an 8, so you know this,
Yes.
you can go round and round. Amy, there are times, right, when you thought you did it differently, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm back in this space again. I didn't mean to do this. But the beauty is you always have the power to turn it around. You don't have to stay stuck. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, that's a big part of 8. The other one is health issues. You know, I've got a lot of people coming to me when the royal family was suddenly talking about Kate cancer, Charles cancer. I'm like, oh my goodness. You know, going back to the belief, internalizing is not hard for us to do, right? And when you internalize, you can get sick, right? Because
Yeah.
let's say you're angry, maybe you're in a bad marriage, and you're putting up with it, and you don't speak up. Next thing you know, you've got a bunch of toxic energy in your body, and as a result, you can get sick. So I firmly believe this is the year to look at yourself. How do I feel? How's my back? How's my lower back? How's my neck? You know, check everything so that you don't get sick. And on that note, how are you feeling, Amy? Tell me about you that way.
I've been on a massive health journey for a long time, and I'm finally in a good place. I'm hypermobile, so I've had nerve issues for a long time, and I'm finally in a good
Ah,
place with my pain, because I last year was my focus was health. Like, I needed
yes.
to really make sure that I feel really good, and I do feel really good. So now it's like, for me, it's like getting to the next level of that. What does that look like? Because as I get older and being hypermobile, my joints are very vulnerable. And so what does it look like to strengthen all the muscles around those joints in order to feel even better? So I'm in a constant position of looking at what I can do to better my health, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And
Gorgeous and true, very true. But I want to say the reason you felt it so strongly last year, you were in a cycle of one, which is getting into the driver's seat of your life. Your personal year cycle was the beginning of a brand new cycle. These next 9 years, this whole thing is big. So going to that one, you're like, I can't live like this. I can't. I have to find a new way. I don't want to be in pain. I'm not looking to suffer. You know, you don't like to feel bad for yourself. It's not fun for you. And
no.
also, when you deal with people, if they play the victim, it makes you nuts. It's like, get up, soldier. This is life. Let's get on with it. So when you feel like you can't get on with it, it bums you out. So I'm going to give you an affirmation because it's a good one for you as well. So write it down.
I'm ready.
I release all negative thoughts and embrace the vibrant health that is within me now. That is fantastic for you. And I'll tell you why, because you deal with humans. Like, isn't that your life? Like, your career is based on humans. And as a result, because you are so cerebral with all those sevens in your chart, and even having a 7 destiny, because you have a 7 destiny, this is about spirituality on the greatest level. Like, do you do your meditations? What do you do? I know you said yoga, but like, what do you do to just?
Oh yeah, I meditate twice a
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Like as a spiritual teacher, I teach the Akashic records.
Okay.
I teach people how to tap in, use their intuition. Like spirituality and spiritual practices are a big deal to me. If I don't
That's
do
who you
them, I
are.
don't feel good.
It's who you are. So again, let's, like I said, numbers are me, same thing with you. You know, you love to help other people, and any breakthrough you have for you personally, it's an added bonus. It's like, I want to heal me too, because you don't want to feel like a hypocrite. It's like, I'm trying to help you guys do all that, but meanwhile, I'm suffering. You don't want to be that. You want to be
Yeah.
the ultimate testimonial. Here's what I did, and here's where I had my breakthrough. Now, keeping that in mind with the 7 life path and the 7 destiny, 7 plus 7 is 14, 1 plus 4 is 5. Girl, you're never a dull moment. I mean, you're like Speedy Gonzalez. Now you see me, now you don't. And that also means as you get older, you become more that. Like, you love the celebration of life. Where are we going? What are we doing? What's the next adventure? You know, and you are meant to travel. You know, you and I talked briefly right before we did the show, and you were telling me all the places you've moved around. You know, some people cannot handle that, right? Like in my numerology, I've been ridiculous. I was born in my parents' house, so I was there for 20 years. Then the next house, I lived there for 17 or whatever. And then I married Charlie. I've been here forever. So I'm the girl who never moves. And you're the girl going, wait, what are we doing? What?
I have moved so many times, just even locally, so many times. I have probably moved them more than the average person, and it's
Oh, you
just
have.
been
No,
all
you
my
have.
life.
But guess what? It didn't make you miserable. See, if your numbers were not the ones they are, someone else would say, we just keep moving and I'm so unhappy. I feel so displaced. I don't know how to meet people. You're not that girl. You're like, whatever, it'll be fine. I'll reconnect. We'll figure out what's here. But I will tell you, that has to be a constant, is the beauty, nature's beauty. You know, if you got technically, do you have water anywhere near you now or no? What do you have? Mountains,
That is
green
the
grass? What
big
do you have?
thing that I need. Like, I'm missing the
Yes.
ocean. We used to live near the ocean, so we do have
Yes.
lakes. My husband and I, we're on a 2.5 acre property, so I have woods. I could go to. We have hills here, not necessarily mountains in Nashville, but we have places to hike, and like I have to go outside at least once a day in order to. And working from home, it's easy to stay in your house all day, and so I have to get outside.
Yes. Yes. No, you literally have to make that effort, because remember, since you are so cerebral, you live in your head and time will fly on you, right? You can look,
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
11 suddenly, you're like, what? That 2 hours just passed? Because that's how much you go within. But it's also about seeking knowledge. But I'm saying the water, like I had a client who's a 7 with all your 7s. He was in Arizona. I'm like, dude, Arizona. So you know what he did? He got a massive, and I mean gorgeous, fish tank. And it's got these gorgeous fish. And he says, Glynis, I just sit in front of it and I get so happy. He goes, I watch it for like an hour. And he goes, and it puts me in a whole different space. Because what I tell people with the 7, if something's bugging you, get near the water. You can get in a bathtub, you know, do the salts.
Yeah.
You could do a jacuzzi, but ask, what is it I need to know? What is the answer? Because as I said, the answer comes from within. And the guy told me with that fish tank, he always got his answers. So I thought that was a great solution when there was no water. But yeah, ultimately, you need to get near the water. You do. You
I
do.
love that, Gladys. Actually, my parents, we had 2 fish tanks. I had a fish tank growing up in my bedroom, and we had a fish tank in our living room growing up. And
Well,
I
you know,
used to,
your baby girl would love it.
Oh, she's a fish. She loves being
Yeah,
in the ocean and
yeah.
loves being in the water. And
But
so,
she'd love to see those fish. I'm just saying that's the
yeah,
suggestion.
that's actually an excellent
It's
idea. I love
powerful.
that.
It's powerful. Yeah, it does work.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. You with the life path number, how do people figure out what their life path number is?
Okay, so we're going to keep it simple because, like I said, I mean, there are people back in 1995, numerology was nowhere to be found. It just wasn't. It was astrology. And then I did the Lisa Show, Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, CBS. I've been everywhere. I mean, go to
Yeah.
numbers.com, click on media, social media, you'll see it. But the point I'm making, back then it wasn't there. So what I really focused on was the basic numbers, 1 through 9. That was to teach people. Then when you learn more about numerology, you learn also about a master number. So if someone's born the 11th or the 22nd, that's an obvious master number. But 33 is also considered a master number. And I teach that because it's a tricky one. A true master number, 33-6, you have to have the master number 11 and the master number 22 when you add up your birthday. And a lot of people don't realize that. So when we talk about energy in general, if you're a 33-6, it does promote communication, right? 3 is a communication, 6 is magnetic, but it's that double master number that would mean master number 33. Now, there are other numerologists that go all the way. They go to 44, 55, 66. Sorry, let me tell you something, Amy. I've helped people heal their life by keeping it simple. Tools to use on the day, like when you schedule something important, if you're going to get married, when you launch your business, what are you going to name your book? You know, looking at the blueprint, this relationship, is it a good idea or is it toxic? If we try to make it too much, you know that saying, the more you know, the less you know?
Yeah.
That's a fact. If you
Yeah.
fill your brain with too much information, you know nothing. You
It's
want to know
just
something,
overcomplicate it. Yeah.
right? Okay, so
Yeah.
going to the numbers. Date of birth, let's go with 8/2/1980. So what would you do? 8 plus 2 plus 1 plus 9 plus 8 plus 0. That becomes 28. 2 plus 8 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. So someone born that day, 8/2/1980, is a 1 life path. So what does that mean? A 1, the first thought is, and this is me doing what I call in this interview, fast food numerology. We're keeping it simple. If you want to learn, it's the books that teach you, right?
And
That's why I
Glynis's
wrote.
book is awesome, guys, and I'll put the
Yeah,
link in the
yeah,
show notes.
yeah. People love it, and it's because it's more detailed and just teaches you what you need to know. But keeping it simple. 1. The 1 wants to be the best of what they do. They're trying to succeed. Now, the shadow side is they often don't think they're going to get there. You know, it's like no matter what they do, no matter how accomplished, they feel like they're running a race and they're not getting there. And what I am convinced of at this point, it's because it's 1 through 9. So the 1 is at the beginning. And that's why they might think that, but that's simply not true. And the 1 can acknowledge what they've accomplished and then move on to the next, they will be so happy. If they take time out to just acknowledge, maybe you're a workaholic and you're very successful, but you're always on to the next project. That's a typical 1. So I say, stop, just stop, take a trip, go away for the weekend, pick a high-end hotel and spoil yourself. Because otherwise, what are you doing? You're just going to work to the end of your life. So the money's in the bank, you didn't spend it. That's silly. So I teach them to be right here. 1, striving to be the best. Number 2, love, peace, harmony. That's what they want. So that means they have to be careful who they hang out with, because if they've got negativity coming at them, it can shut them down. They can become afraid to love. So I teach them, no, let's keep ourselves open. They're also very intuitive. That's considered the psychic energy. They just know. Like they meet someone, there are 2 numbers, Amy, that do this, the 2 and the 7. So you already have that 7, lots of 7s. When you meet someone, you feel it. You're like, I really like this person. Or you meet someone and go, okay, whoa, I don't know what it is, but something's wrong. There's hidden agenda, right? You want to know the truth. The 2 deals with that a lot. The number 3 is the natural communicator. They are here to express themselves. Yes, 3s have a natural sense of humor. But the 3 always, if you don't let the 3 communicate, like you're in a relationship, shutting them down, telling them to be quiet, that's a mistake. They will be very unhappy. So yeah, this is about expressing who they are and finding a way to communicate. They can write a book, they can counsel, they can do whatever, but it's about how do I make a difference with what I say? If someone's in trouble, can I help them? Threes need to do that. Number 4, seeking knowledge. They have an inner voice that says, if I can't do it perfectly, I don't want to do it, because they're just afraid they won't know what they're talking about. But once they learn something, they cannot wait to teach you. So the shadow side of 4 is sometimes they feel like they're raining on the parade, right? Like, so example, if I said, oh, it's such a sunny, beautiful day, a 4 would say, yeah, but what about that black cloud? It's on the left side by that tree. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So they think that's helpful. Like, bring that umbrella. I'm like, really? On the perfect day? Thanks. So that's what 4s feel misunderstood. But the truth is they're always trying to help. They're trying to help everyone else and themselves. Okay, number 5. 5 seek adventure, freedom. They don't control. You do not control a 5. It's not possible. If you come on strong with a 5, the 5's out the door. You ignore the 5 will mosey back in. So yes, it is cat energy. That's why I say that. But they are natural detectives. So if you're dishonest with a 5, they'll do the research. They're going to bust you. And remember, Amy, you have that. You have 5 maturity number, which means every time you think you don't know, you find the answer. You're like, I'm gonna find out what that's about. So that's the 5, but I call them the celebrators of life. So whenever there's like a big event, if you ask the group in your class, raise your hand if you're 5, please. The bulk of them are going to be 5s because they just can't wait to get out of the house and go have an adventure, right? And learn something new. 5s also should travel, because if they stay stuck in the regular environment, they can get depressed. They have to feel they can come and go. Then number 6 is magnetic. I call it, well, for a man, it's king of the castle. Like, they really want to be respected for what they have to offer. Having a good partner, a nice home, all those things really matter to 6 energy. If they don't have kids, they put clothes on their pets. Oh, trust me. I've had photo after photo of a 6 life path whose pet was wearing a sweater. I'm like, really? A sweater? Okay. But
I can picture every pet that I know that wears clothes.
Yes. And just think about that. As a matter of fact, now this is funny because I wasn't even considering this. My sister Vanessa, she has a little dog named Lulu. And of course, we did it by the number. So Lulu's ridiculously compatible to her. But it just occurred to me, every time I see Lulu, she's got something on her. Little shirt, little jewelry. I'm like, what is going on? And I
That's my sister's dog too.
Vanessa is a 6. So I didn't even
so
think about that until just now describing a 6 to you. Anyway, they're meant to be in charge. So here's what happens. They're so afraid if they don't do it, it won't get done. So they're often they're considered or accused of being a control freak. Oh, you're trying to control us. No, they're really not. They're just afraid that if they don't do it, it won't happen. And that scares them very much. So I teach them to stop doing that. Stop looking for that damage control. Trust that when things are good, just say, hey, it's going good. I deserve it. And then the 7, which is you, 7s again. And by the way, this is important. When you break down a birth date, there are 2 numbers before it becomes a life path. So those numbers can all be different. In your case, it's a 34-7. So what does that mean? Well, 3 is that communication in you, and 4 seeking knowledge. That's a piece of your 7. But ultimately, what is a 7? 7s are forever questioning, what is this about? This life experience? What matters? What doesn't? Who am I? Why am I here? And when they get those answers, they're really happy. That's where they get their joy. It's like the aha moments of life, wonderful for 7. And the nature, I said, just like a 5, they need to travel, look at different parts of the world. And sometimes you'll meet a 7 and say, well, I don't, I just stay home. I'm like, yeah, but do you read books? Oh yeah, I never stop reading books. That's another form of travel, isn't it? They're living inside a book, right? But when, I'll put it to you this way, 7s either thank God or think they're God. So when they're spiritual and profound, like have breakthroughs, they can show us all. But, you know, there's examples out there that it's bad. Like Putin always comes to my mind because he's double 7. And, you know, here Putin is dealing with a war with Ukraine, but he doesn't even call it a war in Russia. He says it's a military exercise, you know, so that's not good. And that to me is an example of someone who decided I'm playing God. Like in this scenario, I run it.
Yeah.
But in life, things blow up in our face, right? We have to deal with consequence. And so sevens know
Definitely.
that. But I will tell you this too, Amy, when I meet, let's say a spiritual leader, maybe a priest or a pastor, if they're a seven, when they talk about their faith, it is so powerful because sometimes sevens don't talk. Like even you, I'm sure there's times you just go quiet. You just shut it down. You don't want to talk, and that's the seven. And I feel like that's because they're learning something. There's new information coming in. And never push a seven to talk until they're ready, because otherwise you're going to regret what they say.
I agree about that.
Right? Yeah, because it's like, okay, you pushed me. Now I'm going to tell you. It's better to just give them time to catch up and tell you what they think. The number eight life path. Now, like I said, politician number. And what I mean by that is they are strong minded. If they see injustice, they feel like I got to do something, and they feel like I can represent this. They also care about nice things. So I say people are like, oh, are they materialistic? It's not about that. They're drawn to quality. They just know they like it. It's like, oh, I want that. And it just happens to be the most expensive thing. That's not why they were drawn to it. They just loved its beauty. So it's common for an eight to have quality things in their home that matter to them. The other thing about eight, I put it this way. Yes, they care about appearance. Do I look good? How am I doing? If you made an eight that's just dropped it all, that is someone who's incredibly unhappy, someone who lost their way. So again, as a counselor, I help them find their way back, because eight is a vibrant energy. They have to be careful what they say. It's a blunt number. So they do speak and just say what they think, and they can be misinterpreted. So I say, truth is an art form. You can tell the truth, but still find your words. The number nine, ultimately, the nine, when we say selflessness, that's what they're learning. The nine is the old soul number. So if you have a little one, which, by the way, you did say your little girl, what was her first name?
Josie.
Josie. Yeah, you didn't tell me. Is it Josie?
Yes.
Okay. And of course, now I'm hearing Josie and the Pussycats. That's what you did to me. Thanks. Anyway, because she's a nine, it always represents the old soul number, right? It's the number of completion. It means that she's going to learn quicker than most. She's going to be able to express herself. And I know she's born on a 3-day, so it's not hard for her, but it is natural comedian. It is the goofball. And then 11:30, 1 + 1 + 3 is 5. This kid gets bored easy. It's like, what are we doing? So what's cool
She
for you
loves
is the mama,
adventures.
if you have a 5, you're like, yay, let's go do something else, because your goal is to make sure she's exhausted by the end of the day, or she's not going to sleep. I mean, she's just so ampy and excited. And with the holidays, oh my goodness, a gift, she must light up like a Christmas tree. Nope, that energy is all about it. So going to what is a 9, they know things beyond their years. And as the parent, you want to direct them. Whatever comes up, whatever feels right to them. Because technically, yeah, it's a humanitarian energy, meaning they're supposed to make a difference and make sure that they left the world in a better place than when they got here. So yeah, there's a lot of magic in her, but it's about how do we help her stay focused and not get bored to get it done? Because what she is right now, an entertainer. And everywhere she goes, the whole world's her audience. Walks the room, she's like, you guys love me, right? I know I'm famous, aren't I? She has that in her energy.
Oh, you're so spot on, Glynis. She literally, if we can't go to the store without her saying hi to every person that passes her.
Yeah.
And the checkout person, she has to tell them a story, tell them what's going on, tell them about herself. It's hilarious.
I know, right? I mean, my goodness. And that's why as a mama, and I think you're going to be able to do this because you're a 7, you're going to be able to help her calm down. It's like, sweetie, I love your passion and your energy, but now we need to regroup, and she's a storyteller. Like, she'll make up a story. If her imagination is active, you'll see it. She'll come up with something. Doesn't mean it didn't necessarily happen. So you can laugh and say, great imagination, but that's not what happened.
Oh yeah.
So she's funny. You have a character before you.
She's trying
One
to
last
tell me
thing about a
yesterday.
9 life path for those listening.
Yeah.
They have to overcome the past. When a 9 does not, when they feel unloved or abandoned by mom or dad as kids, it haunts them later in life, and they have to let it go to have some joy. They must let go of the past. So those are the basic numbers. Now, master number real quick. It's what I tell people, because I have a master number in my chart. It's an 11. But I embrace the regular frequency as well. So it's 11/2, 22/4, 33/6. And the reason I tell you to do that, you cannot live in your high frequency. A master number cannot walk around always being a master number. There are times they have to calm it down. So example for 11, Jennifer Aniston is a great example. Look how much she's mastered in her life. And yet she was about love and her heart's been broken, right? You had the Brad Pitt horrible story. And then this guy she married after that, and it fell apart. But what has she done with it? She did the yoga, the meditation. She's gotten into her core. She has great friendships. She's got her animals. So she has some serenity, even though her life has not been, it's been incredibly successful, but not everything's happened that she wanted, yet she finds a way to be joyful daily. That's the 2 in her. The 11 is the performer, the physical body, but the 2 is love, peace, harmony. So 22, master number 22, they see everything. A plus B must equal C. They're brilliant in when they create, especially if they do go down the right of being a builder or any kind of director. They're the ones who do big business, but then they bring it back to 2 + 2 is 4, my home, my family, this sacred space. And they need it to be beautiful around them. It makes them happy. And then ultimately 33/6. I told you the uniqueness. No matter what, if you have a 33 before you're 6, communication, playful, you got to express yourself. But the master number, double frequency. Now, again, what's our girl? Meryl Streep always pops to me because she's such a ridiculously good example. Oh, the woman has this massive success as an actress, nomination after nomination, but her home is sacred. She loves to cook. She likes to decorate. That's the 6 energy in her. So yeah, I invite people, go to numberslady.com. If you click on the link under numbers, you can read more about the master numbers. It's there and it's in my books. But that is what you need to know for the basics.
Thank you for sharing all that. Now, there's lots of numbers that people can look at. What is the destiny number and why is that important to look at?
Okay, so a destiny number, that really does come from the original birth certificate name. So I said, when we took your birth certificate name, it was the number 7. Now, why that's lucky, it's almost like saying it sped up your destiny because you're already a 7 life path. If your destiny number is in conflict with your life path, it's going to take more time to get there. So in your case, 7/7, like how quickly were you in your career? How quickly did you move into what you felt called to do? How?
Well, I got a really good career right when I was 21. And then once I found my spiritual path, it took me a little bit, but I've been doing this for quite some time now. And I love it.
So let me ask you this. Go back to 21. What was the career you picked originally?
I was a finance manager in the car business. I got interviewed and didn't even know what I was getting interviewed for.
Right. So are you ready for the why? This is how my brain works. Finance, which is money, born on an 8-day. Cars, which is movement, a 7. Please, you walked in, you're like, I guess, what? But you were charming. That was your 3 attitude. Put on the show, walked away going, what? I got a freaking job? What is the job? But yes, that makes sense to me. You landed into something, but it was never going to be enough for you. It was never going to be enough for you because once you tap into the who am I, what am I, why am I here? It's about those spiritual breakthroughs. And once you learn them, you're going to teach others. I told you there's nothing more profound than when a 7 explains something spiritual to people. It's intriguing. It's interesting. They're not loud about it. Like, don't you tend to go to a quiet place when you do it? When you talk to people?
Yeah, I try to, because I'm a loud talker, but when I'm talking,
of course. But when you're teaching,
that's soft.
Teacher, yeah, because remember, your 3 attitude is like your daughter. That's why she makes you laugh. You get that, but not when it comes to like someone who's in pain and needs your help. You go right there. And honestly, what I need to make clear, it's coming right through your body. It's not from you. So you've become a vehicle. Instead of selling vehicles, you've become a vehicle. I said it. I said it. Right?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And it really does, because it's just, there's a very clear knowing of what wants to be said and what wants to be done. And I just allow it. I witness it as it's happening myself. Often.
And you love it. And you feel honored to be a part of it. You know?
Absolutely.
So I mean, and let's go to the other idea. I said, ego, when we talk about ego is edging God out, you become very egoless. It's like, no. I'm a vehicle here and I can't wait to see what happens. Our breakthroughs. I'm looking forward to it. That's all you want.
That's a lot of fun. So with the destiny number, they're taking whatever their original name on the birth certificate. And I know that in your book, you talk about vowels as well. Is that something that they have
Well,
to
remember, this is the Pythagorean number chart that we're following. So
Okay.
the vowels across is a soul number. The consonants below added together, reduced one digit, is a personality number. Those two numbers added together is the power name number. But in my opinion, in an interview, what does that mean? You know, you listen and I go, huh? That's where the books come in. You want to learn and understand, what is my soul? What is my personality? What's the power name number? Now, there are two schools of thought. Some people feel it can only be that birth certificate name that gives you a soul number, personality number. And in that case, it'd be a destiny number. No, numerology is an onion and it has layers. But the fact is, when you introduce yourself, whatever name you're going by today, first and last, is the vibration they experience when they meet you. So you want to know your destiny number because it's an important message. And you can look at the soul and the personality of that original name and see what changed. So for me, my birth certificate name gave me 911. Who did they call for help? I think they called me. But that was in my chart. That came from my birth. And I actually have a sister who has the same numbers. And sure enough, she's a guide. She's her thing's called Fine Parent, but she helps people become good parents.
That's
so
amazing.
that was her calling. So you use 911 to say 911. They call you and you help them. But the name I go by today gives me 876, which is a little more complicated. See, the soul is 8, which is business minded, because you can be creative. You can do this. But if you're not able to teach people, if you're not able to get on platforms so people can learn, that's not going to work, right? Anyone can be great in their house. But I've been able to touch the world in a massive way. And I know that soul number 8 helped me do it. And then my personality, this part I love, Amy, because I am double 3, natural comedian. That's me. But my personality number from my name is a 7. And my 7 does observe before I speak. I do listen. And that's why I'm accurate. And then when you add those together, it becomes the number 6. The 6 power name, my joke is I breastfeed the planet. I do. Everyone's my child. But it's my 6. Now it's magnetic. And it happens to be a natural match semi-life path, which is 3. So that's how it works. You want to understand your blueprint. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put your name. If they type Amy in the promo code for a individual reading report to get their breakdown, the numerology reading report, just to tell you about yourself, or a soulmate breakdown to see you with someone else. Are you guys compatible? Or what's the pro and the con of the relationship? Because some of us get stuck. I call that a soulmate connection, Amy. If you have 3 numbers out of 6 as a soulmate, but that doesn't mean it's always good news. Sometimes a soulmate is someone we learn from, but it's not easy. And if you know the difference, you can ease your life because it gives you permission to move on if it's not healthy.
So I know that sometimes numbers can challenge other numbers. Like,
yes,
I'm a 7, my husband's a 3 life path.
But remember what we found with you? We found that you have a 3 hiding behind your 7, a 34-7. And yeah, you have a 3 attitude and a 3. But the point I'm making, it really mattered about your life path. If you didn't have a 3 in your life path, it'd be more difficult with your husband. And there's no doubt in my mind, there are times you guys have a breakdown in communication. No doubt in my mind, because frequency is how we deal with life. But when you understand the difference, so what? My husband is a 4. I'm a 3. It's a challenge, but it doesn't matter. He is a 31/4, and I am a 30/3 with a 1 destiny. And we happen to have the same maturity number, which is 4. So yeah, it's about educating yourself on where you're the same.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think if someone were to see, oh, well, this is a challenge number, and then they question if they should be with that person or whatever. But I know that all the other numbers play into it.
Let me tell you this. This is where I do get concerned. If you have 1 or 2 challenge numbers out of 6, no big deal. You just agree to disagree. If you have 3 challenge numbers out of 6, you both need to commit to keeping the relationship healthy. If you have 4 or more, you have to be honest with yourself. and say, is it worth it? Because here's what usually happens. When you have 4 challenge numbers out of 6, there's a breakdown in communication all the time. And I'm sure you have friends where maybe the girl's like, oh, he said this and this happened. And she's lost her life. She's not working on her own career. She's not achieving any of her dreams. She's just living and breathing her partner. That's not good. So yeah, if you have 4 challenge numbers out of 6, you really need to evaluate the relationship. Now, the good news is I've had couples change a name. Like when I say, should you take his name in marriage? I had one gal, the marriage fell apart. Well, she went from 3 natural matches in her name with her guy. She took on his name and went to 3 challenge numbers, and it really hurt them. But after I counseled them, she changed it back, and they're doing great.
Isn't that so
Shifted the
interesting?
energies. So it matters. Yes, it does.
I find that interesting because teaching the Akashic records, a name is important when you're opening your
Yes.
records.
Yes.
And for me, when I changed my name after I got married, it took me a while to own that frequency. And then
That's
once
right.
you own it, but it takes a while to own that
Yes.
frequency. So
Yes.
I find that so fascinating.
Yes.
And how important is it to figure out what your pet's name or your child's name or your business name is before you officially name something?
It's everything. Like I do it all the time. I literally, I have a lot of celebrity clients, and I've literally named some famous couples their baby by the numbers, to make sure the baby's name was compatible to both of them. And yeah, so it really matters what you name your child, but also taking on your partner's name. My husband is the love of my life. We've been together 21 years. I've never, ever loved someone more than him outside my family, my mom and dad. And there's a few sisters I'm madly in love with, but outside the family, no matter what Charlie does, if I was a cartoon character, Amy, I'd have hearts above my head when he's just, no, it's ridiculous, but that's because he's such a good man. So going to that idea, I didn't take his last name. His last name's Youngblood. I didn't take it because it wouldn't have been good for us as a couple. It would have brought challenges in we didn't need. So I stayed, I'm Glynis McCants. He's Charlie Youngblood.
And he understood that. And
please, are you going to marry the numbers lady and not understand that?
Exactly.
As a matter of fact, one of the reasons he won me over when he first found out about me, because I said, I did it on a dating site. Numerologist looking for a man who's really got my number. And I said, you know, give me your birthday. Well, he bought my book this before we met. He bought it for his daughters, Christine and Nicole, and they loved it. They loved the numerology. So that was already a positive. Yeah. So no, he knew who he was.
He did research on you beforehand.
Well, he literally, he got my name, and I had already told him what I was, and then he found the book and he got it for the kids.
That's cool. Very, very neat. How important is it to name your business, and how important is it to know the number of the business?
Okay, it is significant because everything has vibration. That's why you end up using like the Pythagorean number chart. If the name, like a book title, is not compatible to you, it's going to make it more difficult. When you launch a business, you want that business name to be compatible to you, because if it isn't, again, there's going to be challenges in the business, even the address where the business is. And you know what I do? I help you alter energy. If the address that you already have is not compatible, I show you how to, you know, change the number on the door to alter energy. But ultimately, why not? If it's not, what's the saying? Why would you make a mistake if you have a chance to make it right? So naming a baby by the numbers means the world to me. And Lisa Gibbons was my big example. You know, she was the one who launched me on TV. I did 5 one-hour specials with her, and she was pregnant with her baby. And she wanted to know, you know, these names, what would it be? So we whipped through like 3 names, and it was very funny. Like one of the names, I'm like, uh-oh, he'd be spending all your money. And she just laughed. And then finally we got to Nathan, the son that she named him Nathan. And when I broke up the numbers and explained who he was, she got very excited. Well, that was all recorded. And what's great is we're friends to this day. This was 1997. And she literally will say to me when we talk, do you know everything you said Nathan would be is exactly who he is? Like she goes, it is uncanny that that baby was in my stomach and you knew who he was
Oh, I
just by
got
the
goosebumps
numbers.
everywhere. Yeah, that's neat.
So that is my world. So helping people name their baby just to ensure compatibility in the family is extremely important.
Is there something that's quirky and weird about numerology that most numerologists don't talk about that you like to look at or like to talk about?
A lot of people will read a book and say they're a numerologist, and it's simply
Mm.
not true. It's simply not true. So I will get calls from people that I'm reading, and they'll say, a numerologist told me blank. And I'm blown away by the inaccuracy of that. So the truth is, numbers are extremely important, but interpretation is key. So it's the same as astrology. You can meet an astrologer who's just on it. They look at those planets and what they say is right. You go to another astrologer and they got it all wrong. They have planted these seeds of negativity, whereas the other one didn't see that. So I say it's incredibly important that you find the right people, like the people that are truly skilled and have years of experience to help guide you, because numbers talk to you no matter where you are. If you see your birthday, do you ever see your birthday, by the way? Do you?
Yes, all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Where do you see it? Do you see it on the clock? Where do you see your birth numbers?
I will see it on addresses. I have a weird thing with numbers where like I'll see it on addresses, I'll see it
So example, 8:20. Do you ever see the clock? You just look at it, it says, even though it's an 8:2, but it might say 8:20. Do you ever see that on your clock?
yeah.
Okay, so here's my point. Numbers talk to us all the time. But when you see your birth date number, that's a specific thing. It is the universe checking in with you saying, what's going on with you? Are you happy? Are you on the right trail? Is it time to regroup? You know, what are your relationships like? Are they reciprocal? Or are you the one just giving, and they're taking? It is checking in on you. So it's a funny thing. I never would see my birthday for years. And the last couple of years during the pandemic, every time I turned around, I'm like, really? I'd see my birthday and it made perfect sense. I'm like, oh, wow, checking in on me. How am I? And it helped me every time. I'd make new choices. I had to let some friendships go because they weren't reciprocal, right? And then it also means relationship. You're having trouble with your partner. Here's something a lot of people don't understand. Personal year cycles. Some numerologists say it changes on your birthday. Like once you have your birthday, that's the day it changes. I am not in agreement with that. The other numerologist believes it's the first day of the new year. Well, Amy, not only do I believe it's the first day of the new year, but it makes perfect sense because the world number has also shifted, right? Every year is a different year, world year. And think how often people wake up and say, I will never go through what I went through last year. It has to be different. We say it all the time. So that really validates to me why that's so significant. And as for quirky, sure. I mean, you can have numbers follow you around where it feels a little creepy, but if you educate yourself, you'll understand what it's really doing. What is the message? So the knowledge is what will comfort you. Not understanding it makes it seem scary. One more thing, the numbers 2 and 7 attract spirits. Like ghosts often feel comfortable living in a house of 2 or house of 7. And then with you as the 7, they think they're welcome. They're like, well, you must like us, right? You've got the 7, you got the 2. We're coming on in. Well, sometimes you don't want them. So what I teach people is to say, I am senior in my space and you're not welcome here. Like you can let them go, but they always do feel welcomed by the 2 and the 7 energy. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and you teach so you add up your house numbers, and if it's a number that doesn't resonate, you can just change it and write the number on the door, correct?
Well, the inside of the door, you can alter it. Again, this is covered in both books. So I encourage people, it's one thing to hear this interview, it's another to learn this. Learn those basics for yourself. You know, if your house feels weird to you and, you know, maybe it's a 5, so you feel like you can't sleep, well, perhaps you're a 2. And the 2's just really love, peace, harmony, low frequency. The 5's like, what's woohoo, party time. Well, if your house wants to party and you want to sleep, you might have trouble in that house. So I teach you how to change the number, put a number on the inside of the door that can alter the energy. And it's very effective. Yeah.
So if someone works from home and let's say they have a home office, but they want to just change the energy of like, let's say their office, can they do that?
Yes, they can, because remember, the door coming into that room is the most significant.
Mhm.
So I'll give you an example. One gal, one of my clients, she lived in a house of one, which promotes independence, but she really wanted a relationship. So I said, well, then put the number 2 on the inside of your bedroom door. Just shift it. Within 3 months, she had the love of her life. I mean, she's been with him 5 years now because she's one of my clients. But do you get what I'm saying? You're inviting energy. So yes, if you have an office space, you can alter the energy that's compatible to you because it's in that room only. It's just like an apartment complex. There's an address outside, and then there's an apartment number on your door. That's going to
Yeah.
matter the most
Oh,
when you
I
alter.
love that. And what is it? So for example, like 2222. That is a number sequence that follows me around everywhere.
Yeah, but what did I just tell you? The 2 and the 7 are linked, and it's about
Ah,
spirituality. And it's not uncommon when someone crosses over. I had this one woman ask me about her son, and all these 2s came through on her cell phone. Like for no reason, they popped up. It was like 2 2 2 2 2. I'm like, oh no, that is your
yeah,
son.
two's follow me everywhere.
That is your son. So when you see like 2 2 2, what I first do is make a note of 2. Where's your intuition? Is there something you said yes to and you shouldn't have? It's reminding you, check your gut instinct. What do you really want to do? And then if it's 2 2 2, I always add it up and to see what the final number is. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. I'm like, okay, what about my family? What's going on with my family? What's going on with my home? So it's simple like that. All these numbers that repeat themselves have a message. You look that single number to get its definition, and then you add it all up to see what the final one is as well.
I love that. If someone wants to do a reading with you, do you do readings at all or
Yes. So here's what I offer. First of all, I always invite people sign up for the newsletter. It's free. And what I do is tell you what's in store for every month. Like we talk about the energy of the month and what to focus on. So that really helps people. People are allowed to submit questions. I do some of the Just Ask Glynis in there. Anytime something big in news happens, I cover it by the numbers. So that's one part of it. I do live numerology sessions. They are, if you go to my website, you'll see I literally mention it, but I don't sell it. If I were to put that on my products page, I'd lose my life completely. It would be insane. And I've never done that. What I do is if you're in trouble and you're hurting and you need help, reach out to us and we will get you booked. So yes, I still do live sessions. And then my whole thing was, if you look at my site, I have books to help you learn the basic numbers, but I also have affirmations. Amy, boy, I know you're going to relate to this. We have a real kindness shortage right now in society. It's not fun. The way people talk, and yes, I can certainly put it to politics this year, it's mean-spirited, negative, name calling, whatever it is, that is the lowest frequency. So it's about hiring your frequency. And one of my favorite, this is one of my favorites. It's a tricky one. It's not easy to do, meaning manifest it, but I radiate such love and kindness that negative people cannot see me. I radiate such love and kindness that negative people cannot see me. Man, if you do that and you really get into it 15 minutes a day, you won't believe the kindness that shows up. But yeah, I have a kindness CD too. So they should, visit the site, decide what's going on with them, and use these tools that will change their life for the better.
Yeah, and for everybody listening or watching, we'll definitely put all the links in the show notes and in the description if you're watching on YouTube. It was so much talking to you, Glynis, today. Thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge about numerology and everything else you shared as well. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we hop off?
I just want to remind people that the key when life gets crazy around you, because again, if I said numerology is an onion, the world number 8 is part of your layer. You got to get back to the basics. Focus on you. What is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? What's going on with your family? Connect with each other. I personally, look, we all work in a world where we promote, right? So social media is a part of our world, but cut down those headlines. Do not click when it tells you to click. So let this year be the year that you see more of your own life and find joy with your people, you will feel so much better. And if you have a health issue, get it checked. Don't let it turn into something more you don't have to. This is a year to feel better in spite of what's above our head. Good things are in store, I promise.
All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Wasn't that so much fun learning about the life path number? I think that the life path number, your destiny number, all the special numbers are crucial in understanding how you vibrate and how you operate and how you can use your numbers to better your life. Depending on where you are listening or watching this is where you'll click. I am just thrilled and excited for you to go calculate your life path number. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please make sure you like and subscribe and share this with a friend who you think would benefit from it. All right, friends, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.